Hey there everyone, just got back from the Catskill Regional. I ended up going 7-2, finishing in 12th place, which was unfortunate. My tiebreakers were pretty solid, but then the last couple rounds just fell apart with them, which is unfortunate, because I was one of the better X2s, but couldn't pull it out. If I had won the last round, I was guaranteed the top cut, so that's a little unfortunate, but not the worst thing in the world because I got to play Blue Eyes. I've been pretty vocal about the fact that despite the fact that this format's pretty great, I have not been having the most fun. And so after trying Yummy at locals last night and not liking it all that much, I decided just to play Blue Eyes and see how it went. And it went pretty solid. I played against 3 or 4 Vanquished Little Canines. I only lost to 1. I played against a couple of Mitsurugi Ryzeal or Mitsurugi Canine variants, a Yummy, and even a Sky Striker. This deck did very well. I lost to the... Oh, and I played against 2 Malice decks. I lost to Malice in the last round where my hand was incredibly abysmal in Game 3. It was Effect Veiler, True Light, Blue Eyes, I think Mausoleum, and something else, an Ash Blossom. So I needed to try to do the best I could, and unfortunately couldn't get there because he also had Fulos, so I couldn't do too much there. And the other loss was to Vanquished Little Canine, where I just finally drew an unplayable hand and couldn't do anything with that. So that's all right though. This deck was really solid. I had a ton of fun. It was nice getting to see people, so thank you to anyone who came up and said hi or congratulations because you hadn't seen me. That really did mean the most. We're just going to jump right in though to the deck. There's not too much to talk about. I mean, there's a little bit, I guess. We'll just go through kind of the basics. So first you have your 3 Sage, of course, 3 Maidens, 2 Blue Eyes. That's pretty normal. I'm still going with 3 Wishes. I know a lot of the more successful builds lately have only been playing 2, and then playing the Kaiser over the 3rd one. I still really like 3 Wishes. I feel like I want to see this more than almost any other starter, but I can definitely see the argument for playing 2. It does play worse into stuff like Ash Blossom and Purge, which are much more common, so maybe it is better to play 2. I know often when I go second, I side out of one, or I side out of 1 copy and I go down to 2 anyway, so then I could just eliminate that. But I wanted to have the 3 for game 1. It was, pretty solid anyway. Then I play 1 Roar, 1 Mausoleum, 1 Majesty, and 1 True Light for the Blue Eyes engine. That's pretty normal there. Then for the Primites, we have 3 Ether Barrel, 3 Lordly Load, and the 1 Drill Beam. I don't think I need to explain this one too much. These cards are some of my favorite cards in the game. I really like getting to use them, so getting to play Primate Blue Eyes again was always fun. Multiple matches of mine honestly just came down to looping Primate cards with a giant Blue Eyes White Dragon in the field and doing literally nothing else, which is pretty funny. That was the engine portion of the deck. For the non-engine, we have a ton. There's 3 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, 3 Molcharmy Fulos, 3 Molcharmy Perulia. Again, this was something I'm not the most sold on. It was very okay, and that's about all I can say about it. Like, usually it was just like an Upstart Goblin. That might have just been the matchups though. It did its job in the Vanquished Little Canine deck, obviously, where it slowed down the turn, and that was good enough. Although, actually, this deck, depending on their hand composition, can do fairly well if their hand isn't absolutely insane because of Blue Eye Spirit Dragon. I'll mention that as we go. So yeah, if you don't have Perulia, you can definitely take them out for Droll and Lockbird or whatever else you want. These are not necessary by any means. And then I played 3 Effect Veiler. This was a decision that I really liked a lot. Initially, I was basing this off of my build from the WC key, where I only played 1. The format has shifted quite a bit, and now the extra Veilers are quite good. Actually, if you wanted to pair up another hand trap that works really well instead of Perulia, you could play Ogre, and then you have Veiler Ogre as well, which then beats the Paradise Smasher lines, which is actually what I lost to in one of my games. I ended up rolling a 12, which is pretty crazy. So you could have like Ogre Veiler to stop the stuff, or Ogre to stop the Smasher from getting you to roll you know, guaranteed higher than that most of the time. Then I played 3 Purge, 3 Imperm, and Nibiru. Purge was very okay. Having 6 copies of Ash is not the worst. My biggest problem with it was that I couldn't play stuff like Typhon, which I do really like in the deck, and SP, which I also like a lot. So that's kind of a consideration, but it did perform incredibly well, especially because I was just trying to stop the Vanquish Soul cards from searching. So not having to use Valor on that was really good. That was the main deck at 41. The extra deck consists of 1 Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon. This is something I've definitely changed. I want to play 2 copies, and I'll go into that in a moment. 1 Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. This was something that I was doing that I actually liked a pretty decent amount, was 2 Blue Eyes Ultimate Spear Dragons. That goes along with the 3 Blue Eyes Spear Dragons, and that's because these are just like the best synchros. And Blue Eyes Spear Dragon in particular is very strong right now. It stops Canine Jokul, it stops Canine Lantern because they can't summon out 2 monsters at the same time. It stops Obedience School, it stops the Yummy synchros from tagging out into 2 bodies, which can be really detrimental. It's a surprisingly powerful card. It also randomly came with that it stops Gamma because they can't summon 2 monsters, so that's really cool. Yeah, I like this card a lot. And it also is obviously not terrible into Draco Tail, because either they want to chain block their graveyard effects with Arthalion, which then opens Arthalion up to issues when they fuse, or they want to chain block their Arthalion, and then that opens them up to Spirit Dragon negates. So that was really cool. One thing I did not like, though, was I played Crimson Dragon, or I played Cosmic Blazer and Crimson Dragon. I never summoned these. This was the idea that I had seen from multiple people playing the deck on the regional circuit. I think Prophecy was like the number 1 person doing it the most, but I've seen like in Germany and stuff too. This has been not the most unpopular thing, is that you have these as a turn 3 push. The problem is that I feel like you never get to the point where you're able to summon that many times under Nibiru. Obviously, like, if you can get this out, if you can get Blazer out, then the Nibiru doesn't matter. But I just found that, honestly, just nixing this entirely would have been better and playing utility cards instead. I barely went into these, the spirits again, because I was just so focused on making sure that my plays were super low to the ground and super simplistic, that it was not necessary to go into this sort of stuff. Then I played 1 Lightstorm. This was pretty solid, and then 1 Ancient Fairy. This came up a lot actually, just for game pushes. Then for the extra deck, there's the links. There's 2 Spirits and 2 Seals. That's it. There's no need for anything else. Although I would not have minded a lineup. Definitely would not have minded SP. So maybe cutting the Purges wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Yeah. And then for the side deck, this actually I was overall pretty happy with, except for 1 card, and I'll get into that. First up, there's the 3 Artifact Lancias. Would have been great to see them in a meaningful way. The only time I saw it, I was already so far behind it didn't matter. 1 Magnamut. This was just in there as a random, like, good card. This probably could have been something else, honestly. And then I played 2 Droplets, 2 more Drill Beams, and Ultimate Slayer. So this is actually supposed to be Ultimate Fusion. I got a game loss because I wrote down Ultimate Slayer, not Ultimate Fusion, which was unfortunate, which definitely changed my sighting patterns because I liked to sight out Majesty going second, and then I would sight in Ultimate Fusion going first, or going into that. Luckily, it never actually came up to matter, but that was a really cool thing to do. And then Ultimate Slayer, obviously, because it's not searchable, never came up. Drill Beam was there just as a board breaker. I'm not sure if Drill Beam was the best one. Maybe Evenly would have been better. That slot's kind of up in the air. I did really like sighting into the extra Drill Beams, though. This just meant that going second, I had so much utility, like proactive utility with this, that I was fine to be a little bit more aggressive, and made the Primate Engine way better going second, because typically the Primate Engine is actually fairly weak, at least from what I found. Then I sighted 3 Solemn Judgments, turning it into a trap deck, 2 Dragon's Mind. This card is crazy, and then 1 Primate Scream, which was also very good. Primate Scream actually just closed out a game for me entirely, which is really cool. But yeah, that's the deck. Let me know down below if you have any questions, and if this is the sort of content you like, go ahead and like and subscribe. It was really nice to get to play Blue Eyes again, so I was very happy. I'll probably end up making some more content with Blue Eyes again in the future very soon, since that seems like that's something everybody wants. So thanks, guys.